What is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and today we are in the Forza Motorsport 7 demo, and we are going to be checking out the crash physics. So I'm going to be pushing the crash physics to pretty much as far as they can go in this scenario with the Porsche. So what we're initially going to do is turn around at the start, let the AI go the other way. We've got a couple of crashes. We do a couple of crashes on one side of the map, and then we do a couple of crashes on the other side of the map as well. Well, I would say more than a couple of crashes, but in all the instances that we crashed in the demo, you can see where they've definitely improved the dynamics of how these crashes work, just because of the fact that the cars feel like they carry real weight when they hit each other, and they react they react almost in this very natural way, which is interesting because it's kind of different from how we've seen crashes before in Forza Motorsport. But I tried also hitting the cars from a similar angle over and over, and I got a different result every single time. And I'm not talking like slightly different, I'm talking like very different each time. I had one where it actually launched me up in the air and I did a freaking barrel roll, and I had another one where it just like spun me off into the wall and I hit a tire wall. So they definitely have worked a lot on these crash physics, and I know a lot of people don't really put a lot of weight on crash physics. I know that's not what a lot of people. That's not why a lot of people buy the game. They buy the game for the actual driving physics, and I mean, it's like look at other simulators that have really good driving physics, but maybe the crash physics are not there. It's just like you bounced off a wall and the car just stays stuck to the ground. It's just like boink, and that's it. But here, they've definitely ramped up the level of like, you feel like a crash in Forza Motorsport 7. You feel like the crashes are like severe. You feel like holy crap, something just happened. Something big just happened. Like, this was significant. And I think that makes a difference because at the end of the day, that kind of also motivates you to help avoid being in a crash. But you can see, like, well, we're gonna rewind in a second, and what we do is I set up a crash scenario, and then I rewind and I run it, and I rewind and I run it again, so we can get different angles on it. But like I said, this also, I think, promotes people to avoid crashes, just because of the fact that there's definitely more of a feeling of severity to it. What's funny is if you create a pileup, like everybody stops and ends up just hitting each other. But eventually they do either push you out of the way or work their way around you. So they're smart enough to follow the line. But sometimes if the line is stopped, they all just barrel into each other, which sometimes does happen in actual racing. But the actual car damage itself, I mean, I didn't have it on simulation damage or anything like that. I didn't want to do that because if I had it on simulation damage, my car would be dead. But I wanted to go ahead and pass everybody and go around the track towards the straightaway, and which, by the way, also, this was my first time running this particular track backwards like this, and it's actually not a bad track backwards. It's actually kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. So I'm hoping that in the full game, the reverse layout is a usable layout, because I like driving this track backwards. But in terms of the crashing itself, I mean, the body damage is like, you're not going to see like body parts crumpling in and like, wheels flying every which way. It's not Burnout, obviously, but I think the reaction physics are what are more important in a game like this, rather than, say, destruction physics, because, nobody really plays Forza for the objective of, like, destroying the cars. Like, that's not what we play Forza for. We play Forza to race. We play Forza to drift. We play Forza to be involved with the cars. And I think these crash physics, for example, really all they're there for is to up the immersion factor. So, like, if you are in a crash, you don't necessarily feel it, but you feel it through the game. You feel like it's a severe incident if it's a bad crash. So I think that's an interesting dynamic that they've added. And I mean, because before, you had big crashes, but now there's just something, and I can't really put your finger on what it is, but it's just this feeling of weight, and everything has this really dramatic feeling of weight. When it, when collisions happen, there's this feeling of two colliding weights, and it's really cool. It's a really cool dynamic that it has, and cars will they'll launch off of each other, and it feels really different to anything that we've seen previously in Forza. As you can see, it's like a lot of speed and a lot of force is translated into that, and maybe it doesn't translate as much on video, but it definitely translates when you're playing the game. I mean, that's for sure. And I can understand, maybe it might not translate as well on video as it would if you were holding the controller itself, but I mean, like, when you back into a tire wall, I mean, they make that feel, they make that have a really huge sense of speed to it. I mean, Forza always has a great sense of speed, and that's one of the things that I think that they do better than any other simulator simulator, racing game, whatever you want to call it, like Simcade. I mean, everybody's going to go into a rage over the fact that I called Forza a simulator. But anyways, I think that even out of, like from dedicated simulators to arcade racing games, I feel like Forza has one of the best senses of speed out there, and Forza 6 does an amazing job at keeping with that. That time, it was just like, oh, here's a Lamborghini that just so happens to be like a wedge. You're going to do like a freaking 360 side spin when you hit it. But we hit it again, and it does something completely different. So, not immediately there, but a couple of crashes later. But as you can see, each crash really is completely 100% different every time. And I think that this could mix up the online play a lot. And, I mean, even if there's, like, if there's a car that hits another car and is tumbling across the track and you avoid it, like, just narrowly, this is the jump, or the crash that I was, like, amazed with, because I didn't think there was any chance of a car being flung that high. I mean, it's just like, but it confirms you can use Lamborghinis as ramps still. You just have to hit them right, but you can still use them as ramps. But anyway, if you're racing online and there's a big crash and there's cars tumbling across the racetrack and you drive underneath one that's tumbling over you, there's something about that that's just like, holy crap, I just did that. And it's one of those kind of like a 1 in a million feeling type things. But I think that with this new crashing system, there's definitely more of a chance of those like crazy 1 in a million moments happening in the game, and especially in online play. So I'm excited to see where the game goes once we get access to online, and once we start to see the game get into players' hands, and start to see, how the crashes actually play out in traditional online play. But hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, don't forget to leave me a like. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys next time. Talk to y'all later.